Ever wonder what it really takes to go from throwing your first jab to fighting for millions on pay-per-view? We're breaking down every single boxing level from complete beginner to world champ, the journey that separates weekend warriors from legends like Canelo and Fury. Fitness boxing. This is where most boxing journeys begin, and honestly where most people stay, and that's perfectly fine. Fitness boxing is the non-competitive side where you're throwing punches at heavy bags, getting your cardio in, and learning basic combinations without ever stepping into a ring with another human being trying to rearrange your face. Places like Mayweather Boxing and Fitness Centers are exploding across America because people want that boxer physique and mental toughness without the brain damage. You're looking at 45 to 60-minute classes mixing boxing techniques with strength training. No headgear, no sparring, just you versus the bag and some seriously sore muscles the next day. The beauty of fitness boxing? Zero experience required. You could be 45 years old, haven't thrown a punch since middle school, and still walk into any boxing gym tomorrow. Most gyms offer beginner classes that start with stance, basic punches, and footwork. You'll learn the 1-2, jab cross, and maybe even some basic combinations, but the focus is fitness, stress relief, and having fun. Fun fact, even heavyweight champ Deontay Wilder started at age 20 in a basic program. That's ancient in boxing years. The average fitness boxer burns 400 to 600 calories per session, and the sport builds incredible core strength since every punch originates from your midsection. Plus, there's something deeply satisfying about imagining your boss's face on the heavy bag after a rough day at the office. Novice amateur. Now we're getting serious. Novice amateur boxing is where you transition from hitting bags to potentially hitting people, and getting hit back. In the US boxing system, you're considered a novice until you've had 10 sanctioned bouts. This level typically takes 6 to 12 months of solid training before your coach even considers letting you compete. The requirements get real now. You need an amateur boxing license, which means passing medical exams including neurological tests, blood work, and proving you're mentally fit to get punched in the face for sport. The paperwork costs around $50 to $100 depending on your state, plus passport photos and birth certificate. Novice fights are 3 rounds of 2 minutes each with full protective gear, headgear, mouthguard, and 12 to 16 ounce gloves. The scoring is all about clean punches landed, not knockout power. Judges are looking for technical skill, and refs stop quickly if someone's getting overwhelmed. Here's what separates this level: the competition. You're now fighting other people who have been training seriously for months or years. Weight classes are strictly enforced. No 150-pound accountant fighting a 200-pound construction worker. The average novice boxer throws about 40 to 60 punches per round, but only lands maybe 15 to 20% of them. The learning curve is brutal but addictive. Most novice boxers lose their first fight. That's normal and expected. Even future champions like Terrence Crawford lost his amateur debut. The key is learning from each bout and building that foundation that separates real boxers from gym warriors. Open amateur. Welcome to open amateur boxing, where things get real fast. Once you hit your 11th sanctioned bout, you're automatically moved up to this level. No going back to beating up novices. This is where serious amateur boxers live, and where Olympic dreams either take flight or crash and burn. Open amateur fights jump to 3 rounds of 3 minutes each, same as the pros. The protective gear stays on, but the power level jumps significantly. You're now fighting people who might have 50, 100, or even 200 plus amateur fights under their belt. These aren't weekend warriors anymore. These are dedicated athletes training daily. The competition structure gets serious here. We're talking Golden Gloves tournaments, regional championships, and national competitions. Win the right tournaments and you could find yourself on Team USA, heading to international competitions or even the Olympics. Floyd Mayweather Jr. won a bronze medal at the 1996 Olympics as an open amateur. Anthony Joshua dominated this level before turning pro. Here's where it gets crazy. Elite open amateurs often have more technical skill than many professional boxers. Since amateur scoring rewards clean punches over power, these fighters develop incredible speed, accuracy, and defensive skills. Cuban amateur boxers routinely have 300 plus fights by the time they turn pro, if they ever do. The pathway splits here. Some boxers stay amateur hoping for Olympic glory, while others use this level as a stepping stone to professional boxing. Fun fact, you can actually compete as both an amateur and professional now. The rules changed in 2016, but most choose one path because the training demands are completely different. Success at this level requires complete lifestyle commitment. We're talking strict diets, weight cutting, year-round training, and the mental toughness to handle getting beaten up by world-class athletes on a regular basis. Youth and junior levels. This is where tomorrow's champions are forged, and man, it's intense. Youth boxing covers ages 8 to 18, broken down into specific categories. Bantam, 8 to 10, Junior, 11 to 12, Intermediate, 13 to 14, Senior, 15 to 16, and Youth, 17 to 18. Each level has different fight durations and safety protocols. The young guns in this division are absolute savages, Take bantam level, 8 to 10-year-olds fighting 3 rounds of 1 minute each. Sounds cute until you realize these kids are often training 4 to 5 days a week and have been boxing since they could walk. Many future pros start here, building that foundational experience that's nearly impossible to replicate as an adult. Here's what's wild. Junior boxers often display technical skills that put adults to shame. Their reflexes are lightning fast, they're fearless, and they absorb technique like sponges. Ryan Garcia started boxing at age 7. Gervonta Davis began at 5 years old. These weren't casual after-school activities. These kids were serious competitors from day one. The competition becomes increasingly fierce as they age up. By 17 to 18, youth boxers are essentially training and competing at adult levels. Many are already being scouted by college programs, Olympic coaches, and professional promoters. Safety is obviously paramount at these levels. Coaches and referees are trained specifically for youth boxing. Matches are stopped more quickly, and medical supervision is mandatory. But don't let that fool you. These young fighters are developing the same skills and mental toughness that will carry them through their entire boxing careers. The dedication required from families is enormous. We're talking travel to tournaments, expensive equipment, coaching fees, and countless hours driving to gyms. But for families that stick with it, the payoff can be huge, both in terms of life skills boxing teaches and potential for athletic scholarships or professional careers. Elite Amateur. Elite amateur boxing is where legends are born and dreams are either realized or shattered. This level covers ages 19 to 40, and despite the name amateur, these fighters are essentially professional athletes in everything but pay. We're talking about Olympic boxers, world championship medalists, and the absolute pinnacle of non-professional boxing. The competition at this level is absolutely ruthless. Elite amateurs compete without headgear. That changed in 2013 for men, making the sport more like professional boxing. Fights are 3 rounds of 3 minutes, and the power and skill level is off the charts. These fighters often have 100 to 300 plus amateur bouts. Think about this. Cuban elite amateurs regularly beat professional world champions in exhibition matches. The legendary Cuban amateur program has produced fighters like Teofilo Stevenson, who won 3 Olympic gold medals and turned down millions to fight Muhammad Ali. Felix Savon, another Cuban legend, had over 400 amateur fights and dominated this level for over a decade. The pathway to elite amateur success is incredibly demanding. You're talking about making national teams, competing internationally, and basically living like a professional athlete on an amateur budget. Most elite amateurs train twice daily, follow strict diets, and sacrifice everything for their boxing careers. Here's the crazy part. Many elite amateurs are technically superior to professional boxers. Since amateur scoring rewards clean punches and technical skill over knockouts, these fighters develop incredible speed, accuracy, and defensive abilities. When they do turn professional, they often struggle to adapt to the different style in longer fights. The rewards can be life-changing: Olympic medals, national team status, and eventually lucrative professional contracts. But the failure rate is enormous. For every Vasyl Lomachenko who dominated as both an amateur and professional, there are hundreds of elite amateurs who never make it to the next level. The mental toughness required is superhuman. You're competing against the best boxers in the world who aren't being paid, traveling internationally for competitions, and dealing with the pressure of representing your country. Professional boxing. This is it, the big leagues, where boxing transforms from sport to business, and where legends are made or destroyed. Professional, everything we've discussed. No headgear, fights up to 12 rounds, and the only goal is to hurt your opponent more than they hurt you. Getting a professional license is no joke. You need to be scheduled for an actual professional fight before you can even apply. That means finding a manager, getting signed by a promoter, and passing extensive medical exams including neurological tests, blood work, and EKGs. Different states have different requirements, but they're all designed to ensure you don't die in the ring. The financial reality is brutal. The average professional boxer makes around 35 grand per year, and that's before paying managers 20%, trainers 10 to 15%, and all expenses. For every Canelo Alvarez making $40 million per fight, there are thousands of pros fighting for $1,000 to $5,000 per bout. Most pros need day jobs. But here's what separates the pros. The skill level and mental toughness are otherworldly. Professional boxers are fighting to feed their families, and they'll do whatever it takes to win. The camp preparation is year-round, often 6 to 8 hours daily when preparing for fights. We're talking road work at 5 a.m., technical sessions, sparring, strength work, and strict dieting. The progression in professional boxing is all about building your record and ranking. You start fighting local guys, hopefully win consistently, and gradually work your way up to regional titles, then national titles, and eventually world championships. The politics are insane. Promoters control who fights whom, and sometimes the best don't fight each other for years. Here's the crazy part. Becoming a world champion requires not just incredible skill, but also perfect timing, the right team, avoiding serious injuries, and honestly, a lot of luck. Look at someone like Gennady Golovkin. Absolute elite fighter who didn't get his first major fight until he was 30 because promoters avoided him. The rewards at the top are life-changing. Tyson Fury made over $30 million for his trilogy with Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua reportedly made $60 million for losing to Alexander Usyk. But for every superstar, there are thousands of professional boxers who gave everything to the sport and ended up with permanent injuries and empty bank accounts. There you have it, the complete journey from throwing your first punch at a fitness class to potentially fighting for world championships and generational wealth. What's wild is that every single world champion started exactly where you might be right now. Curious about boxing, but not sure where to begin. The beautiful thing about boxing is that it meets you where you are. Want to just get in shape and learn some self-defense? Fitness boxing has you covered. Dream of Olympic gold? The amateur system provides a clear pathway. Thinking about turning professional? Well, that's a whole different level of commitment, but the opportunity exists. If this breakdown inspired you to start your own boxing journey, hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments what level you're starting at. And remember, every champion was once a beginner who refused to give up. The only difference between a dreamer and a champion is the willingness to step into that gym and start throwing punches. Smash that subscribe button if you want more deep dives into the sweet science, and we'll see you in the next one.